Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. We've got a new Domain Sherpa review happening right now with Drew, Braden, and Jack Cal. We kick off the show talking about some domain trends, forecasts for 2023 and beyond, and the emergence of ChatGPT. Although we talk about that for a little bit, it might be a good topic for a deeper dive at some point later, maybe. And then we play the domain game featuring Quantum.io, StoneAge.com, Depreciation.com, and Poser.com. Then we've got the NameJetGonnaJet segment, sponsored by NameJet, and we talk about some domains coming up for auction, such as Screwball.com, Dollies.com, TentRental.com, and Carts.net. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you could also watch the video version at DomainSherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. You can also listen to the shows on Apple and Spotify and other podcast platforms as well. And big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains with a special platform made for domain investors. With that, it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. So let's get it. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. Jay On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, and I'm the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. That's a mouthful. These are the experts. There are 4 segments to the Domain Sherpa review. We've got the grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas, see what's going on with them, maybe drop an AKA or two, and we talk about some related things, some unrelated things, all that good stuff. Segment 2 is the domain game, where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses on the buy or sell price. Keep score and give out some swag to the winner. We've actually got some new swag that we're currently in the process of working on, which we're pretty excited about. Yep. Some Domain Sherpa
no one will ever see it, though.
It's true.
No one's gonna see it.
The reason, so what it is it's like it's pretty custom.
It's a beautiful idea.
So we're working through the process. Yeah, it's a great idea.
In concept, that sounds awesome.
Conceptually, it's fantastic. So
I can tell you firsthand, conceptually, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. They're going to be awesome. super dupe. But like they're very
whether that conceptually translates into reality is a different animal, but.
Well, so maybe Braden, do you do a lot with merch in general? Like have in your travels, or Jack, either of you guys like work with like on the clothing tip? I know Morgan Linton, obviously, and like the homie, and there's other folks, but because the hoodies we're trying to have made involve like
work with, like I wear clothing, if that's what you're.
Well, because it turns out, so and I haven't even really told Drew about this, but
Boomer.
I've been going down the rabbit hole trying to get these custom hoodies made for Sherpa, which involve like it's a sick white hoodie with a purple inside the hood. But it's not as simple as just like, oh yeah, like you just go on and find the template. I've talked to a couple different merch folks. You almost have to source the garments, almost come like predetermined on the color. You know what I mean? Like all one color, you can kind of pick a variety of different shit, no problem. But if you want to start getting into like, oh, we want the color of the drawstrings to be unique and the inside of the hoodie to be unique, it's like a whole different deal. Which for me,
yeah. You can do that. Just takes money.
That's exactly what I'm finding out. I mean, hey, with the right amount of money, you can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
like,
I have a question.
Exactly.
When you're like listening to a podcast and you could set it for like 1.5 speed or 0.75. You're set right now for 0.75. Did you just wake up 5 minutes ago? What's going on? Can Billy speed up just your voice?
I'm set for 0.75. You mean me personally?
Yes.
I seem slow.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, let me
Sure,
try to
you
like. I got some coffee.
I feel you. I
got some coffee here. You know what I'm saying? So I'll.
Did you just roll out of bed?
Well, it is. We are recording earlier.
We are IV drip.
We are recording a little earlier than usual, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I could talk any faster. That's crazy.
Does it kick in to like 10 a.m. for you or what?
Nobody's ever told me to talk more quickly. but maybe talk less, you know what I'm saying? But not like faster.
Imagine how long the AKAs are going to take now.
Right. Y'all acting like I'm like moving super slow, man. Like I'm all like,
listen,
AKA swap for this dog.
Everyone just skip ahead 25 minutes.
25 minutes. AKA Braden. All right, look, let's keep it moving. Anyway, so hey, anybody out there that's got some hookups for merch for doing the really custom stuff, like let me know. That's it'd be cool. That's part of the process. But we do have new swag though. We are working out some cool stuff, which I think is going to be dope if and when we get to that point. Yeah, man.
When I win this game, are you going to ship it to Dubai?
Hell yeah, man. I'll bring that shit out personal, or Drew will, But yeah, we're good. We ship global, man. We global. All good. And I'm telling you, they are fire. So big shout out to Jen, actually. She was the one who helped helped design them. And they're really they're dope. So but work to be done. But let's keep it moving, and I'll try to speed it up. All right, and then we got the NameJetGonnaJet segment sponsored by our friends at NameJet. That's where we review a list of domains coming up for auction on NameJet, and the Sherpas talk about what they like, what they don't like, all that good stuff. And then last but certainly not least, we got GrandClosing, where we discuss anything we haven't covered already, what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market trends, current events, allowing our guests to mention and promote anything they want to talk about that we have not already discussed. So with that, let me go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. Over to my right, I got my boy Jack Cal, a.k.a. Antonio Banderas, a.k.a. Jared Leto, a.k.a. Jack Sparrow, a.k.a. Liam Neeson's nemesis from Taken 1, 2, and 3. Why you got to keep kidnapping his daughter with your homies, man? You know what I'm saying? Why you got to do that? He's going to keep coming, man. Jack, a.k.a. Jack California Love. California. I don't know, man. Anyway, what's good?
You are off today, man.
What's up? Oh man, what do you mean I'm off today, man? Like,
yo, Braden, we might have to seek medical attention for this game.
I called that one, right?
You did. You did.
I love it, Jake.
Well, thank you, man. I think you know what I'm saying. I think the AKAs were solid. I'm sorry if my delivery's not right on. You know what I'm saying? But hey, look, we're all just doing our best out here, man.
What are you talking about, officer? I didn't drink anything tonight.
Hey, man, y'all tripping. Dude, like I said, it's early, but it's not that early. All right, let's go. It's so early, we're late. All right. To my lower right, I got my boy Braden Pollock, a.k.a. Tony Stark, a.k.a. Benjamin Button, a.k.a. Eat, Bray, Love, a.k.a. Braden Pollockton, the Archduke of Calabasas. It's not that your domain is worthless. It's just that it's worth less. You know what I'm saying? So what's up? But the other thing, too, is you guys are telling me to speed up the AKAs, so to do less of them. So I don't know, I'm trying not to make it a big drawn out thing,
Yeah.
So I guess it's going well. It's going well.
So is that.
Yeah. With that, all right. And last but certainly not least, I got my boy Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. Level 14, a.k.a. Every Rosner has its thorn, never going to give Drew up. Graybeard, the domain pirate. And so what's up, man? What's up with you?
What's up with me? Not a lot. Same as last week, just cruising along, do my thing. I will say I'm a little more optimistic about 2023, or at least actually the very near term. I'm not actually super optimistic about 2023, but the very immediate, let's say Q1, I'm pretty, strong start to the year.
Nice.
And
we're going to still see sales. Like the economy may very well tank for the next couple of quarters, but I think we're still going to see sales.
Yeah. So, let's talk about that for a hot second before we dive into the domain game. So, what about you guys? And Jack, it's been a minute. So, since you've been on the show, so welcome back. You know what I'm saying? And so what did you see? Through the end of 2022 into this early 2023 thing, trends wise and everything. Are you seeing what everyone else is seeing, where it was kind of slow? Now maybe a little bit of a little bit of the sun peeking through the clouds kind of thing. Like what's good with you?
Honestly, I'm seeing I think what everybody's seeing. I just feel like there's a delta between what buyers and sellers are willing to buy or sell for, right? Buyers are stuck in 2023, 2024 recession mode. Sellers are still in like 2021 frothy market mode. So prices aren't coming down and buyers don't want to pay up for the domain. So it feels like it's very dry out there. Even from our personal portfolio, we haven't seen that many sales. I was watching the previous domain Sherpas with these guys, and they were mentioning also that it's pretty slow. And honestly, that's actually what I wanted to ask you guys is, do you guys think that this is going to last through 2023? So Drew saying that Q1 is going to be more optimistic is curious. I'm very curious to know why you feel that way.
So to me, it's I've always tried to think about these things in simple terms, and so what is it that fuels the domain market? And when I'm generally speaking, just broadly, when I'm talking about what fuels the domain market, when I'm talking about the domain market, I'm mostly talking about the domain market that I'm participating in, which is the high-end domain market, .com, one word, two word, three letter, two letter, just strong, strong value .com domain names. That's the market I'm primarily speaking of. So if we look at what are the things that fuel that market, it is really three legs, right? It's venture-backed startups, private equity, and large multinationals that launch new product services or rebrands. So the fourth quarter of last year was the worst quarter in the history of my company. I've been running this business for 16 years, I think. It was by far there's not even a close second quarter that would compare to how bad the fourth quarter was. And it went off a cliff like this because the month prior to that was one of the best months in the history of my company. And the following month was one of the worst months in the history of my company. So it really happened like this. And it was basically this revelation that easy money was gone. Interest rates were going up, probably higher and longer than anybody anticipated. And it was time to give back some of that easy money that flowed through from 2020 to 2022. And so that basically what have we seen as a result of that? Well, all the household brands you can think of are laying off thousands or tens of thousands of employees. Venture capital funding basically dried up for all but a very small few of innovative and new companies and companies that were able to cut costs efficiently and get to profitability or increase profitability. But it was I don't know what the numbers are, but I would guess it's a single digit percentage of the companies that had been funded between 2019 and 2022, which are going to be able to raise more funding in 2023. And so what does that mean? Well, that means less companies getting to their B, C, or D round, which is ultimately where they're buying big domain names.
Right.
And so let's just leave it at that to save time and keep it simple. So venture capital, basically, they put the brakes on. So there will still be deals. And I do believe that those deals that do happen may, or let's say have the potential to be larger than normal, because these are going to be outstanding companies. They've gone through this filter, this hypersensitive filter, to be able to achieve, either a path to profitability or immediate profitability, and therefore can afford bigger domains because they get bigger checks. Private equity is done. I think private equity is actually going to be, when I say done, I'm obviously exaggerating, but that market is really in trouble. And that's because it was the most leveraged part of the entire financial universe over the last several years. It increased exponentially, not on a percentage basis, but actually like exponentially, in terms of both the scope of the private equity market and the leveraging of the private equity market. And so that market really depended on the ability to refinance its debt at these extraordinarily historically low interest rates. It allowed them to chase yield in ways they probably wouldn't have in the past. It caused them to take greater risk than they probably would have in the past. We had an exuberant market that caused them to pay multiples that they probably wouldn't have in the past. And now all of the off-ramps for private equity, which were SPACs, IPOs, and M&A, and there was this kind of incestuous hot potato game, musical chairs game going on in the private equity market, where they were basically passing around assets, with these incremental markups that would make it look good to their LPs, but ultimately there was no way for these companies to actually materialize the valuations that they were being marked at. And now with the, basically the SPAC market gone, IPO market gone, and that M&A market gone because nobody can borrow money at 0 to 2% anymore, then private equity market's done. And so that leaves you with Fortune 500s. And Fortune 500s are governed by markets. And basically they're looking at quarterly, right? Well, hold on.
Can I jump in to this dissertation?
And in a world where you're laying off thousands of employees, none of your shareholders and none of the general public are going to say, oh yeah, great idea, go buy a 7-figure domain name. So those are the 3 legs of the stool, and all 3 have been knocked out. And so that explains why it slowed down with a halt. And it all depended on liquidity. And now
I think Q1 will be good.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So now what has happened, I believe, is causing
eventually. And
it was a 2-part question.
You gotta wrap this up, man.
Cliff?
People have work to do.
Right, listen, we went off a cliff for the reasons I just said. Q1 is shaping up to be good because of sudden new business creation and some irrational funding that's going behind that because of an innovative new technology in the form of AI. So AI has captured the public's, interest and mind. Every person who's ever called themselves an entrepreneur is thinking about how they can build a business or make money using AI. And that is causing lots of new businesses to be created. Yet to be seen whether any of that will have value, but each new business requires a domain. And so you have these legacy, or let's say serial entrepreneurs that have had big exits and can finance these things themselves. You've got some people who have a track record who can still go to VCs and get money. But either way, there is money flowing and there is new business being created in this AI space, very broadly speaking. And I think that will create some growth and transactions in the domain space that will be material in Q1.
Yeah, I mean, Bueller.
Thank you,
Bueller.
Professor
Y'all
Drew.
said I was slow today. Y'all said I
Tell
was
me what
slow.
I just said that isn't true.
No, it's the opposite.
I actually think what you said was, I mean, look, and we talk about it every day, and it's what we're seeing. It's what we're, believe the trends that are driving what we're seeing. Jack, actually, Braden, you said you had something you wanted to say? You wanted to interject with something, or were you just telling him to stop
I did.
talking?
First of all, I just want to derail him because that was long. And no one signed up for this lecture, but
I think
you
it's a lot
need
of
to
value.
control your guests.
Y'all told
you're
y'all
talking about PE, and I feel like because you just read like Bloomberg, and so it's time to spout what you read. I have never seen PE come and buy a domain name ever. VC, sure, plenty time. PE, like I've never even heard of.
1,000,000% untrue. If you look at who are actually the largest
I'm talking about my
domain owners,
experience. I'm talking about my experience.
largest domain buyers of the private equity market.
I just haven't seen it because PE buys companies. They don't build companies. Like
Not true. Not true. Okay, let's put it to what is a company like Red Ventures? What do you call Red Ventures? I use that as an example because I think I know that you know who they are. So yeah. Red Ventures, that's a private equity group. That's what it is. And it is private equity funded. It's a private equity group. And they both acquire companies and build new businesses. And they are a massive domain buyer. Go look at the portfolio that they own.
But Red Ventures is, I feel like it's maybe it's a hybrid of VC, but pure
Quinn Street was this, or is, I guess, the same thing. It's just that they ended up going public. So now they're a public company, but Quinn Street was the same thing, right? If you look at historically who were the biggest buyers in any given market at any given time where there was some wave happening, it's private equity. whether it was insurance, whether it was legal, whether it was every time there was a big wave, it was a private equity driven wave.
Yes, and they provide funding, but for established companies. I mean, I rarely see pure PE firms developing businesses as opposed to rolling up businesses. There's a difference.
You're 100% right, but so am I. So they buy businesses and then they expand them by launching peripheral businesses. Now, when I talk about PE, I'm not talking about just generally about PE. I'm talking about like these sort of niche, or I don't even want to say niche because some of these companies are multi-billion-dollar companies. But let's say like, they are web-driven. These are web-driven private equity groups with a core focus, whether that's lead generation or affiliate marketing or gambling or what have you. It's not like venture where we're coming up with an idea and then launching it. No, we have a process, we have a methodology, we have some secret sauce that we can then rinse and repeat over and over again across a vertical.
Look, if you have experience PE, I mean, I've only sold names to PE firms that were just starting, and it's the name of the firm. But I've never sold a name to a PE firm for one of their portfolio companies because they buy established companies. Now I can see
it's usually going
somebody
to...
that. Hold on, let me finish. Mm-hmm. I can see Red Ventures or somebody that's kind of a hybrid. That's PE funded. That is kind of more VC focused. But pure PE, I don't see it. But I mean, I think we might be kind of getting into the weeds here, and the listeners, they probably fell asleep a while ago. So with that.
No, hey, so Jack, I mean, because you had asked the question, so thanks for that, by the way, for putting us down this path. This is great. No, but I think this is interesting. This is important stuff, though, and this is good. I mean, look, you guys have the gauge on the market in ways that our audience really is genuinely curious about, right? So, very few people have that kind of insight. So this really is, in a lot of ways, what we're here for. So, but Jack, what do you think, man? What's your feedback based on what all the words that Drew just said in a row?
Honestly, I'm very curious to see, because inflation numbers are coming down, right? And even though the Fed does seem to be like very narrowly focused on bringing it down to 2%, assuming that they could see it like in the near or nearish term that it's going to come down, one might assume that they're going to stop the interest rate hikes so drastically, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it might be that the recession that we're all fearing, and I've been fearing it for my company as well, like we're hefty in the cash right now just to brace for the storm. But lately, I've been thinking that maybe the storm is not going to be as bad as we thought. And that's kind of why I wanted to pick your brains about this as well, to get your feedback, because I don't know. It doesn't seem so obvious that we're guaranteed heading into a massive recession where it's going to be just catastrophe all across.
I think it's going to, we're going to see ebbs and flows here. I mean, and I know what Drew would say is that, what you're seeing now, you're going to see this little rally, which will be followed by
this is what you call smart money dumping on dumb money. That's what's happening right now. It's smart money dumping their bags on dumb money that's buying those bags just ahead of the fucking car crash that's about to pile up.
Well, the other thing is that there's a few things that are happening. The tech layoffs. There's been 25,000 layoffs in the last year, and while you see some of the tech companies contracting,
and another 10,000 got announced today.
Is that so? Well, your today is my tomorrow, so I haven't read that news yet. But
I'm contacting you from the future.
Yeah, no doubt.
How's the weather tomorrow? So the tech layoffs, while some of those big companies are contracting to a degree and their stock is getting hammered, those tech workers are starting new companies, right? I mean, and that is the segment where we see a lot of these new companies being started, and we're already seeing that happen.
Yep.
Even in the crypto space.
100%. That is the creative destruction cycle in tech. 100%.
So we're seeing sales happen to those folks, right? And then the other thing that's happening is because everyone's afraid of the economy, contracting, the VCs are using that opportunity to hammer the startups. These startups aren't necessarily worth any less, right? Because they're still valued at what, multiple of their revenue or the data or whatever they're doing, right? Whatever gives them their value as a startup, that hasn't necessarily changed, except that the VCs are like, oh shit, the economy's going to crash. You better tighten your belts and we'll give you money. However, that last round at the $20 million valuation, we're now going to value you at 14 million or whatever. And they're just hammering the VCs, even though their valuation hasn't really changed, but the VC controls, right? Because cash is king. So we're seeing that, but you have to remember that, and I've been saying this for months now, there's still $500 billion in dry powder the VCs are holding. That money has been raised. It's not going back to the lenders, to the investors. It's not like, these guys don't want to lose their carry. They're just holding and negotiating for a better price, right? So that's happening. So there's $500 billion. The Saudis, their sovereign wealth fund has $600 billion in it, which that money could get reallocated. It's possible, but at this point, it's been allocated for venture, right? So there's over $1 trillion. Plus, there's other sovereign wealth funds out there. So we're talking about over $1 trillion of dry powder waiting to be invested. That money is coming, right? So those startups will get funded. They will get money. Maybe they'll get a bit less. Maybe there'll be a down round, but they're going to get funded, and they will use that money to hire tech workers, to market, to buy domain names, all the things that they normally do. So we're the last 2 quarters were shite, and now this quarter is probably not going to be great, and maybe the next quarter, but that money's coming, and so I think there's going to be a little bit of a bounce back after people are scared, right? But this isn't going to last forever. And I'm not saying that the economy isn't going to contract, because it may. There's probably going to be more layoffs, but new companies will still get started.
Yeah. I 1,000,000% agree with almost all of that. I think that I don't think this is going to be some protracted, long recession where there's just nothing happening and people grinding themselves down to the bone. I think that it's going to be way, way, way worse than people think, but very sharp and very short.
Now, if we were real estate investors, if we were in
real estate, you're screwed. 10 years, for the next decade, if you're in real estate, there are pockets, right? There are pockets of growth where that's an exception. But just broadly speaking, real estate is going to be a very treacherous market for a variety. It's like if you had a whiteboard, it's like, why are all the reasons real estate's going to be bad over the next decade? It's like,
I mean, the housing market is
pretty long list. Municipal taxes, the housing market, demographics, the list goes on and on and on. Yeah. Housing will continue to contract. Dilution. Yeah.
Office space, good God, those guys, forget about it.
You know what's interesting is that I actually fundamentally believe this is actually, and I'll save you the long thesis, but core to my broad macro thesis is the housing market and the complete demonetization over the next 20 years of the housing market. We, since the 1950s, this core to the American dream was, get a job, get a mortgage, pay off your mortgage. That you basically, the equity in your house is your retirement value for the average Joe. Okay, that was basically core to the American dream in an oversimplified form, and that is over. And if you think about, what's the fastest way to increase disposable income for the average American? It's not to increase their income, because that's very hard. And if you get wage inflation, we're all fucked, right? So it's cut their cost. And so 40% of the average American's disposable income goes to paying for a mortgage or rent. So if you can cut that down to, say, 20%. What did that do? You opened up 20% of the complete and total American GDP disposable income. Total disposable income to create new GDP in other sectors, services and consumer products. And so I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. I think that there's a variety of sort of market conditions, tax problems, and financial engineering that is ultimately going to lead to the demonetization, which I believe is an absolute great thing. I do not think it's a good thing that we create a speculative market on housing, which is one of the most essential products and services for every human. So I think creating a speculative bubble in that market is very dangerous. And I think we're seeing some of the result of that. And I think demonetizing that is going to create growth in other sectors. But it's going to take, a decade or two.
So you must think that China
But I agree with everything else Braden said. There will be more money coming to domains. I am very confident in that. But I think it's going to be, late this year, maybe Q3, probably Q4. But I think Q2 is going to be pretty bad. I think, March, April, it's going to be Armageddon.
So Drew, how do you feel about the Chinese market with their speculative investments into the housing market there, which is basically like extremely...
I don't know anything about the Chinese housing market. All I know is what, the headlines. I think, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's a closed society. Who knows, right? It seems over leveraged to me, but in a closed society with a closed financial system, it also seems to me that the government can basically do whatever they want to prop it up if they want to, or they can let it die if they want to. Basically, I think they can just do whatever they want to do, and I don't think there's any way to really speculate on it.
Yeah, and they are. But maybe we should talk about domains.
Yeah.
But no, look, I think this is all, again, this is all valuable insight. I think but Braden made the point I was going to make, which is, VCs still have a lot of powder that they're going to, keep, and they're just going to be more judicious about how they deploy it. Which means leaning on their startup, clients and portfolios and companies to, spend less, which has, will impact how domains are, going to sell, what they're going to be valued for. I think, Jack, the point you made about sort of this disconnect between buyers and sellers, right? Buyers have, gotten a taste of that, those big prices that, they would love, sellers have gotten a taste of what domains should sell for. Meanwhile, buyers are already trying to discount things based on the quote unquote economy, and it'll be interesting to see how that sort of, but I feel like that's always just an ongoing process. You know what I mean? Because then by the time
it is,
and we've seen
that's the market. That's what a market is, right? Is this arbitrage between what a buyer thinks and what a seller thinks. Mm-hmm. If everybody thought the same, there'd be no market, right? So,
fair.
It's just when that delta gets wide enough, you can basically be sure that there's an event coming that will bring those two sides together. It could be a positive event, like some innovation or, unlimited money printing that will bring the buyers closer to the seller. Or in this case, it will more likely be a complete and total devastation of retirement portfolios, house prices, and, feeling of self-worth that will bring sellers closer to buyers, would be my guess. So, yeah, I think that's where we're at.
But I do think also,
we saw this in 2020 where basically prices just started going up because there were so many buyers. Like the buyers got so, sellers had this idea of prices. Oh, my domain's worth $500,000. And in 2017 or 18, that seemed absurd. In 2020, you got your price easily. And then that made you believe all these domains are always worth that price. And then so you held that price. And then liquidity dried up. The buyers are here, right? So it's just, we saw it happen where the buyers got closer to the sellers. And now we're going to see it where the sellers get closer to the buyers. Yeah. And consolidation and, weak-handed investors trading portfolios and names to stronger-handed investors. That's just it's the nature of the business. So I want to talk about one thing quick that I thought was kind of interesting. I assume this is probably true for most domain investors. The only thing that ever keeps me up at night with domains is there something in the pipeline that's going to disrupt domains, that's going to make domains less relevant for search, less relevant for business naming and branding? Is it going to become less of a priority in the sort of brand stack, right? Trademarks, copyright, domain name, the various elements of your brand. And there's been many iterations of this. In my early days, I was, felt very threatened by apps. Then it was like I felt very threatened by, social media, or maybe it was social media and then apps, and then there's always something that you're like, oh my god. And so with ChatGPT, I was thinking to myself like, wow, why, if I don't really need Yelp, I don't really need all these things, because I just go ask ChatGPT everything. How do I get here? Where, how is this restaurant? What's the best burger joint? What's, whatever it is I want to know, write me a paper. I can get the information without doing the research, without doing comparison shopping, without, these review sites, without even going to Amazon, and just identify what it is I need, what it is I want, et cetera. And so it was the first time in a long time where I felt like, oh, wow, that could really be damaging. So then I had the brilliant idea to have a conversation with ChatGPT about it. So I said, ChatGPT,
so meta, right? There.
What's up? Are you going to, basically make domain names less valuable and less important for businesses and services in the future? And this took many, many iterations to get like intelligent, meaningful answers and get us on track for an actual, real, meaningful discussion. But ultimately, just to save you all of that, the result of a very long list of questions that I drilled down with ChatGPT was that domain names are here to stay. So long as the internet exists, domain names are going to be an essential element of the internet. That basically, the more advanced all of this becomes, the more valuable certain types of domain names are going to become, primarily .com and primarily words properly spelled that are easy to say, easy to understand, hard to confuse, and kind of the classic shit that made domains valuable, right? And the reason is you need an easy way to communicate your intent, and that's always what domains have been about. And so, anyways, the only thing she said, or she, I don't know, he, I like to say she, but
they.
The only, I don't use they. The only thing that ChatGPT, had to say negative about domains was that when we have a computer brain interface, and keyword is and, it is widely adopted, which ChatGPT thinks takes greater than 20 years. When we have a brain-computer interface that gets widely adopted, that will potentially, not absolutely, but potentially have an impact on the need for domain names, or at least the need for as many domain names as there are today.
So I'd like to comment on that, because that conversation you had was basically an aggregation of all the stuff that we have been spewing, and I mean that quite literally. ChatGPT AI is not predicting the future. It is simply stitching together the past. Literally, it's scraped the web and it's stitching together all the content on the web, and all of this stuff that it got parroted back was stuff that we've all published, right? That we've all said, and so it's stitched together the answer that you were looking for. And so, we have been talking about how domains are here to stay, and you need it, and this is how we communicate with each other and search the web, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there is no prediction of the future. It is literally information from the past, and not even that current, right? You're not getting any information from the last 6 months.
Isn't the definition of this as being an AI that it can Intuit. Is that the word?
Okay. I'll go with it.
It has intuition, right?
Yeah, intuitive.
But it doesn't, because it's only based on the content that it scraped from the web.
No, Google is only based on the content it scrapes from the web, right?
No. Google
this
is not
takes all
together.
that content and uses logic to
stitch together. It's only stitching together published information, right? Google,
you don't think there's any intuition in this?
Only in a way, only in the context of putting it together, right? So Google will search for one piece of content that they think is most relevant to your search. But ChatGPT is taking all the content and then aggregating an answer for you. So that's the difference. But it is not predicting the future based on what it has read. It has simply read this information and stitched together an answer for you based on what's been published. That's all.
Okay.
And the people that are talking about domains are us.
All right. I just asked. So ChatGPT, do you have intuition? As a language model, I do not have intuition in the way that humans do. However, you can test my ability to understand and respond to natural language inputs and provide relevant information based on that knowledge that I've been trained on. For example, you can ask me a question that requires understanding and interpretation, and I will provide an answer based on the information that I've been trained on.
Right.
So that it is taking the information that it got and compiling it and then taking it a step further with interpretation.
Right. So, in order to craft an answer based on the inputs, which is what it's trained on.
Interpretation is the key word here.
And it's trained
I'm
on
asking it to
all the
interpret
content on the
all of the trends. So I was specifically asking it about trends, right? That was the majority of the questions I was asking leading up to that conclusion was about trends. And so it's taking the data that make up those trends, and then it is interpreting it to make a conclusion about the future.
But not a prediction. It's simply aggregating the content to deliver an answer, right? And it's when it says based on the information,
but it's interpreting that, right?
The
it's
content
interpreting
that
data
on is everything that's on the internet, right? Because it's scraped.
But it's not telling me, based on Reddit article, blah blah blah, from user GreenFrog97. Domains Google. Are here to stay, right? That's Google.
Right.
It's taking all of these varying opinions and factoids and compiling it and then interpreting it and drawing a conclusion from it.
Yeah, it's almost like you could say,
not interpreting. It even says it's not an interpretation as humans would do to create it.
No. It's not. It's not using intuition the way humans do. It is literally saying specifically that it can interpret all of the data that it's trained on.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say.
We can talk about this for a while, but
so I think this is a great topic for a rabbit hole. I just
wanted to give everybody a little good news that domains, you can sleep well at night. Domains are here to stay. They're going up in value. Okay. By the way, that's also
I will agree with that.
She said domain names are likely to increase in value as more businesses come online and less .com domain names are available for sale.
Yeah, look, I think we can agree. Right. Okay.
Which is basic fucking logic, but
well,
feels good when
I think you could say it's sort of this crowdsourced hive mind intelligence, right? And it's and I think that's what we're seeing, right? And it's as good as its inputs and its access. But we can dive into all of that and do a whole big show on it. But let's talk about actual domains. In fact, I would like to know personally what domains you guys have recently bought and sold. Maybe even guess a price or two. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. Shall we play a game around domains, maybe?
Let's do that.
Let's play a domain game. Let's do it. All right. We got my boy Jack Cal on the show. I'm here. Let's get it. All right. I'm trying to get up from that 0.75 to 0.8, 0.85.
Yeah, you're almost at 1.
And I'm it could be the coffee. You know what I mean? It could be the nap that I took with my eyes open while Drew was going off on his dissertation before. But I do think, look, we see it with our business, and I got to admit, it does make me feel good when we see some pockets of light in what has otherwise been a relatively, difficult time, and seeing some of these kinds of things. And I think to Drew's point, when you see trends that are commercially interesting, right? AI has been around, but we're seeing it now on a whole nother level, right? And that's going to create some interesting stuff. It's going to create opportunity. It's going to create new businesses. It's going to create need for new domain names. And I also think, and this is my last point about this convo, we'll wrap it up, move on to the domain game. To Jack's point about this idea that this recession that everyone's been talking about, and whether it comes still to come, but what we've seen up to this point, the increase in the interest rates, right, with this idea that the Fed has tried to create this soft landing, and then you see these articles where they say soft landing is not going to be feasible, it's not going to be possible, they're not doing it right, all that kind of stuff. But there's no question that them raising rates the way that they did, was like throwing a wrench in the tires of a bicycle, right? And whether that was soft or not, it had the impact that it had, which created all sorts of.
Don't do that, because you're just going to get him started again.
People that get tossed off the bike, I'll tell you that much.
Wait, what's
There's going to be a
that?
hell of a lot of people that get thrown off the bike. That's
But I'm
going to be
just
a
saying-
ass landing.
But I'm also
almost
saying,
got back to it.
no, but last thing,
All right, let's go.
I know,
Come
no,
on.
but wait.
Domain game, baby.
All right, last thing I'm going to say is that everybody assumes that things are going to be so bad and that the recession and this and that, and it's like it's a foregone conclusion. And, it's almost like you get to a point where you have to start looking at the contrarian view, because when everybody thinks the same shit, chances are that's actually not what's going to happen. And, which will be, so we'll see. But
I see
anyway.
it a little different
While
just
you
because
were-
I
while you
think
were
everybody
napping-
thinks, it's going to be a recession, but they're not doing anything about it. When I see everybody doing something about it, when I go to the restaurants and they're not full, and the airplanes aren't full, and the hotels aren't full, and people aren't like just frivolously spending money still, then I'll tell you, yes, the herd is now of the mind that we will have a recession. That is not what's happening. Consumer spending is increasing. At most, it's going sideways, but primarily it's going
That's a fair
up.
point.
It's just
That's a
instead
fair
of using
point.
money, they're using debt.
Yeah.
And
Right,
so
debt is through the roof.
you can tell me all you want. Everybody thinks it's a recession. We ain't going to have one. No. Everybody's talking about there might be a recession, but they don't understand what it means when their portfolio goes down by another 30% from where it is right now.
Yeah. No,
They
and
don't
then
understand what it
and-
means when we go from 3% to 6% unemployment, right? It means that, what do we have, 800 million people in America, right? It means that another 2.5 million people are going to lose their job. That's what it means, right? And that's going to happen in the next 12, 18 months.
JT,
Right,
I warned you.
moving on.
I warned you.
I know.
Let's see what happens.
This
Let's
was good.
just
This was a
jump
good
in.
discussion. I think this is important.
I just
and
don't
think
like
it's
to
good.
give people any sort of form of false optimism, right?
True.
Because
Yeah.
I'm
No.
of the mindset
There will be
that
no
better
hope
be
given.
prepared,
There is no
and I do
hope
not
provided.
think most people are
Hope
prepared.
does not float here. We are in the sunken place.
Yeah.
There will be no
Take
hope.
your hope. Take your
Hey, I have a
hope.
Beatings
question.
will, beatings will continue until morale improves. Yep.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
That's
I have a
100%.
question. Jack, have you bought or sold anything lately?
Talk to us, man. What's good? What's good, Jack?
All right, so I actually have a buy or a sell. The truth is that the sell is not as exciting as a buy, but I know you guys prefer sell, so you guys pick.
Ooh,
No, let's go to buy.
Yeah, whatever.
yeah, you said exciting.
I mean, you guys will tell me.
All
So
right.
the name is quantum.io.
Ooh, quantum.
That's a buy?
Oh, that's a buy.
What would the sale have been?
Wow.
Oh,
Okay. That's
Yeah,
nice.
save that because we might need it if there's like overtime.
I'd give you a hint.
All right.
So,
Oh, we got to do the phone.
get your phone
Jack,
out.
you know how this game works? You got to go to the calculator, enter the price on the phone.
Quantum.io. All right, and it was a
I mean,
buy.
you don't have to on this one, obviously, but all right, you
Quantum.io.
bought this quantum.io.
Quantum.io, and it's a purchase.
Ready?
Well, we're waiting. We gotta
Hold
wait.
on.
We gotta wait.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom. Oh.
Oh!
All right. So for those of you who are only listening, we've got Braden at 12,500, Drew at 14,888, and me at 14,999, baby. I hope it's the over.
I literally had 15,000. That's why I said wait. At 15,
I've got the under.
I'm gonna go with the under.
I got the over. All right.
I got
hosed. I got sandwiched.
Yes, you did.
So Braden takes the point.
Oh, you got it. Oh, you got a good deal then. All right.
So the story behind this one is it was negotiated for nearly 2 years. This guy was very, very difficult to pin down. I actually offered near 15,000 at some point, but he's like, no, I don't want to sell it. And at some point we agreed on a price. He just didn't follow through. And this is a lesson for domain investors who are looking to buy names. It's all about timing. You really got to get lucky with the timing.
And persistence.
Exactly. You get lucky with persistence, right? So keep clearing away. You're going to be annoying. People are going to tell you to fuck off. It's fine. This is how you get the deals. So even though I had offered 15, I ended up getting it for $7,500.
Wow.
Because of
timing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's an excellent price. And speaking of luck, I've discovered that the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Right.
It's all about increasing that luck surface area.
Yeah, luck radius. Yeah, your luck radius. It's key. We talked about this.
Is that his name? Sahil Bloom? Is that?
Yeah. Sahil. I think so. That's how we say it.
He had a great post on Twitter. I feel like I shared it, maybe reposted or whatever. But yeah, it was all about increasing your luck your luck surface area. I really like that. I really like that whole.
Yeah. Well, and that happens
concept.
From working hard and trying to put yourself in the right spots.
More engagements, more work, more exposure, more learning, more. The more engagement you have in the world, the more touch points you make with people, places, and information, the more you increase your luck surface area.
Yeah.
That being said, as much as I agree, I've always gone back and forth when it comes to luck, right? Because there is the blind luck, like us having been born in wealthy countries, having been born to healthy parents, being healthy, all this, you're already starting off at the start of the race, right? So that gives us a huge edge over a lot of people, and we can't ever forget that. That being said, as Drew's saying, you just got to increase your surface area, and that's how you get past the people who got lucky to begin with. So
you can't worry about the things you can't control, right? So yeah, sure.
And it's it's like Shane says, you outwork
male in America, at a certain period of time, right? That all of that is extremely lucky, compared with the 8 billion people on this planet.
We were lucky.
Once you're here, right? There's a lot of outcomes, and we
were lucky we were lucky just in the fact that the sperm and the egg and the zygotes and all that kind of shit turned into human beings, right? And then, and then the human beings being placed in the socio situations that we were also lucky, you know what I'm saying? Genetics and things, to be where we are, that provides certain privilege, if you will, and then, but then to Drew's point, from there, you gotta put in some work, and I think we all say some sort of form of that same statement about, it's just, it's all, I always say it's interesting how lucky, smart, hardworking people can be, and it's all kind of the same sentiment. So, well, good stuff, man.
One more thing. Quantum is actually the 67th most popular domain names in the world in terms of TLDs taken, which is a cool stat, I think.
Yeah, no, it's badass.
67th most popular. How do you see that?
.db.
But .db doesn't give you a ranking of here are the words that are the most taken.
Yeah, there's a top keywords at the top of the website.
Oh, Drew about to learn something today. Drew's about to learn something. Jack, bam.
Look at that. Top keywords.
Yeah.
Of course, Nick. Yeah, because every TLD has a Nick dot whatever. Amazon, Bitcoin, Metaverse. Wow, I never knew this. NFT is number 7? That's crazy.
Somebody sold that, no?
I wonder who. All right.
Somebody undersold it. Somebody undersold it. All right. So, all right. Well, Braden's up 1-0. He can't get the next point because the next name is on him. What you got, man?
StoneAge.com.
Ooh, StoneAge.com. A sale.
Little bit of an oddball, but StoneAge.com.
StoneAge.com. All right. Jack, Drew, put it in the phone. This was a sale.
StoneAge.com. This was a sale.
StoneAge.com.
I like that name. StoneAge.com. Like that name.
When I bought it, I was like, I don't know.
I do. I like it as sort of play on words for like a, custom stone business or, I don't know, hardscaping company.
All right, locked in.
Which is that's big dollars. You know what I mean? Not tech, but those are big dollar businesses.
All right. So
wow, I've sold. That'd be a great contest. We should figure out who has sold the most domains from the top 100 keywords.
Yeah, I mean, we'll put
I've got a bunch of them.
We'll put the team on it. We'll put the data. We'll put the analysis on it. All right, let's go.
2,
hey,
3.
if you don't mind, before you dislocate your shoulder, patting yourself on the back, let's maybe throw a number in a phone.
See what you got.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's see what you got.
Go. I'm just looking out for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Well, bam! All right, I went way low. I'm feeling a certain way now. I'm at 4,000.
That's like a buy price, Doug. That would be a steal to buy it at.
I know. All right. I put in 4,999. Jack, show me what you got because you were in the middle, at least the second. What is it?
40,000.
He's 40,000 even. And Drew, what was your number?
59,888.
59,888. Braden?
Well, so you're all very wrong. Drew being closest to the pin.
Ooh, okay.
But he's in the sand trap. I mean, he's far from the pin.
Okay.
120,200.
Wow. Oh man.
Wow. Great. You nailed it. That's a great sale.
Yo, let's get him, Billy, give him some applause. Let's give some fanfare, like raise the roof. Let's go. All right. Well, I will live with my shame for all of my days for that. I was
$5,000. Come on, dude.
I don't know, man. You guys said I'm like working at I don't know if I'm not feeling well. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? It's cold here. Go ahead, talk that talk, and tell us how much you bought it for too.
So I looked at my purchase agreement. It came from a larger company, and there is a confidentiality clause. I cannot say what I paid, nor who I bought it from. However, I can tell you that I made in the neighborhood of the general multiple that I typically shoot for. So you can infer from there, but I won't comment any more on that. But what's interesting is that I got an inquiry just a couple of days ago, and the guy wanted to pay with crypto, and I hooked him up with Steven Lieberman for escrow, and the guy didn't want to pay escrow fees. He was maxed out at his budget. I was actually asking more, but like 120 was his max. So I said, look,
seems like a weird number to be maxed at,
120?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't that was his max. He said he was planning on spending like 80. That was his opening offer. And I started at 200. And so we landed at 120, and he said, so you want to pay fees? And so I was like, look, why don't you Google me? And if you're comfortable, you can just send me the crypto and then I'll release the name. And so he did, and he was comfortable. And so he it was literally last night. It was like 9 hours ago. And he just sent me the money. And
wow.
And it was like you covered my withdrawal fees. Send me an extra $200. He says, all right. And that was it. And then we unlocked the name for him. My hold time, 2 months.
Wow. Nice.
I mean, it just
Nice.
out of the blue, like 9 weeks. But it's funny. What made me think about that was because I told the broker, I sold it. She's like, already? How? And I'm like, inbound. It made me think of like back in the old gold mining days. They're like digging for gold, and then like they don't hit gold, and they give up and they sell the mine, and somebody else comes in, and like the next day they hit gold.
Yeah.
Right. It's timing. Like you don't know. It's like the seller was sitting on this and then sold it off. Wholesaled it to me, and then a retail buyer came around.
Well, and you mentioned the NFT.com sale. I mean, that wasn't completely unlike that. And it's I mean, that's you just walked right into the ballpark, got put in the game, and hit a grand slam, man. That's awesome. So
timing, and I've got
buy, right? And it seems
what's
like
that?
The money is made on the buy, and it seems like you paid the right price. And even if it didn't come 2 months, like the fact that you were able to get it for such a good price, you don't mind holding it longer term. And the fact that you were able to get the return that you usually aim for is terrific.
Everything that I buy, I anticipate holding it forever. It's 10 years out, and you just have to know that you're going to sit and wait. There's so many investors. I just bought a name from an investor who bought off auction and then realized he couldn't afford to wait because he reached out to a couple end users, and like 3 days later he hadn't heard back, and then he had to sell it because I was like, did you think you were going to sell it that fast? And he literally offered it to me for less than what he paid, and it wasn't even in his account yet. And I was like, you should hold on to it, man. Like
you should maybe rethink your business model.
We're supposed to buy low, sell high, not buy low, sell lower. And I'm like, you got this wrong. And he's like, hey, I just can't afford to hold it.
Hold on. In his defense, when you do outbound, even though it's only 3 days, granted, and you don't get a sale, it does lower the value of the domain name at least a little bit.
Sure.
So there's that.
Right. And I said, have you heard back? He said, not yet. And it was like, it was the holidays. This was just a couple of weeks ago. It's like just after the first of the year, you think people are on vacation, and also people don't get back to you right away. I mean, you could have emailed to somebody and maybe they took it to the board or sent it to their boss or what. You need to give it a minute. And I tried to talk him out of it, but I was like, all right, if you really need the money, I'll pay you less than what you paid for it. But
what's the name?
Should I say? Yeah, I guess because you don't know who it's Kevins.com. Kevins plural.
Nice.
And then I just bought, literally while we've been filming this, I just bought the .net and the .org. From both of them were owned by domains, and I got them like it's stupid. It's a rounding error. So now I have all three. So for some commercial company that's called Kevin's, I can sell them the package of the .net and .org. So I think it's a good deal. I like to get the nets and orgs if I can on my premium names. Kevin's
wasn't Kevin's. Wasn't that that weird ass bunk NFT project with like the kind of?
No, that was Pixelmon. That was Pixelmon, and it just so happened that the character was called Kevin because when the shit revealed, because the guy made like $80 million or something.
Yeah, but then they
nuts.
called that shit Kevin's or something.
Well, because then it became a meme, and then it became like and then there were like derivative projects that basically popped up around it because it was the one Pixelmon character that when it came out and they revealed what you got, it was this fucked up looking zombie guy who was like the art was like pathetic. A fraud. It was like he literally like was and then Kevin became just like a meme, and fucking Kevin. And then there was Kevin's, and then you could literally like there were NFTs around the different versions of Kevin, which would be Kevin's.
Because Kevins.com got offered to me too, and I just didn't want it that bad that day. But I actually like that name. But that's all I could think about was that NFT project,
Kevin's,
which was literally the stupidest thing that's ever been created in the history of mankind.
Well, again, it
somehow caught the public's
Yeah, well, you know what it was the
just
Pixelmon
became
project.
wild.
People actually people were bullish on the Pixelmon project because they, it was supposed to have some sort of Pokemon kind of vibe, and at the time, everything was blown up. And so when Homeboy did the project and then released the actual generative art, the PFP that you got, the art was messed up, man. There was like stuff was,
put a picture of this so people have reference.
yeah, Billy, put up a picture of Kevin, man. Show Kevin some love on here. Show Kevin in all his glory. You know what I mean?
Hey, why do we have to overlay negative juju on my new purchase? Why are we doing
this was cool, man. Kevin is the shit, man. Kevin is the bomb, dude.
It was literally like one of the 5 most viral NFT projects.
There were multiple projects that popped off based on Kevin.
Exuberance.
You know what I'm saying? Based on Kevin. Let's go. Get it. Let's get it, Kevin.
There's no negative juju.
That's all right. No, never.
No, that was all positive juju.
That was a vibe. Okay. Kevin was a vibe. All right. So Drew, what do you got?
Kevin was a vibe.
You have a buy or a sell.
I'm the most cynical person there is of that entire market. And I still it was literally the stupidest project I've ever seen, but I kind of wanted one just because it was like, the narrative was so stupidly simple and ridiculous that I was like, I love this.
I will bet you that Kevin NFT will be worth a whole lot of money down the road, just from some, again, some iconic collectible, because it has that behind it.
Wait,
we literally is like shit art,
Oh yeah, well
hey guys, we have a problem because we kind of have a hard stop in 15 minutes.
Yeah, so all right, keep it moving. Let's go.
So we got to go here.
So what do you got? Buy or sell?
Yeah. All right. I have a buy. Depreciation.com.
Depreciation.com. So, all right, I'm out on this one. You guys, because right now, Jack and Braden, you guys each have a point. Is that what it is? I lost track. Who got, because Braden got the point on Jack's.
I have a point.
Oh, you have a point, Drew. Okay, yeah. So, well, either way, I'm out on this one. So
if Braden gets it, he wins. If Jack gets it, it's a tie, and we go to a runoff.
We go to an overtime. Yep. All right, cool.
Okay.
So, all right.
Ready.
Okay. There you go. Ready? Oh, I got the under.
All right.
Whoa. Wow. I didn't think you guys would go that low. Wow. Making me feel bad.
Yeah. They're hating. They're hating right now, Drew. It's okay though. You still the best, Drew. You still the best.
All right. So
use case.
All right. Jack nailed it. I got it for 10 grand. I mean, depreciation is a big deal.
I almost said 10 grand.
Boom. All right. So this is gonna go. So now I gotta figure out.
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't know. I thought that name was worth a lot more. I didn't think you guys would go that low. I thought I got a killer deal there.
You gotta keep in mind what the market is at right now, right? And I know names that you're buying, so it felt that it was the right price.
Yeah. Look, I don't think you got taken to the cleaners on that. I mean, 7,500, 10 grand. When you sell, it's about the same. But it's just the use case on that is tough, and it's a tough.
Well, that's a huge industry. That whole optimizing your depreciation and the whole scam around depreciation on real estate investing, especially in California, that's a huge ass industry. There are people whose entire business is about ways to school the system using depreciation.
Mm-hmm. 10 grand feels right.
Which is, I think, what the guy I bought it from does.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. So,
it's funny when you buy a name and you that's gonna be a brand for something, but I bought cylinder.com from this guy that was in his late 70s and retired, and he used the original registrant, and he had a cylinder business that. He made cylinders. Yeah. Really?
Engine cylinders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a factory, and he didn't know anything about domain names.
Yeah.
Nothing.
All right.
Because he's this old dude, and he's like, look, I'm 78 years old, and I don't understand this whole internet thing.
All right. So now we need a runoff between the two of you?
No, the three of you. No. Here's how we're gonna have to do it. It's the three of you. You each now have a point.
Oh.
So here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to take a name from NameJet that we previously talked about on the show, and we're going to go based off of that. So y'all put your NameJet, your browsers, your name bios out. You guys got to respond quick. All right. Let's go. I want to see phones up and ready. You know what I mean? Yep. Come on.
Phones up. Phones up. Let's
phones
go.
up. Let me see the backs of your phones. All right. So the name we're going to go with is poser.com. Poser.com.
Poser.com.
So this was where?
It was sold on NameJet. It was a sale. And we talked about this on the show previously. And you got to put your number in quick. This is sudden death.
Poser.com.
Poser.com. And y'all let me know what you think it's sold for. All right, ready? Go ahead and flip. 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Drew. All right, here we go. So we've got Drew at $3,888, Braden at $8,000, Jack at $15,666. The winner in the sudden death overtime of the domain game today is Jack, California.
Wait, are you telling me it went for that much?
It sold for $21,392, y'all.
I remember that it sold I remember it sold crazy high, but not that high.
Yeah. Well, and I checked for what it's worth.
I literally wouldn't pay $5,000 for Poser.com. What are you going to do? It sold
for 21 plus, and I did check to make sure that none of y'all were in like the top of the, being, in the even if I couldn't actually even see if you guys were even in the auction, even at $69. So. But definitely not at the top. So I knew that, that gave us a chance to do something that was fair and equal. And Jack with the big win. So as soon as we get this new merch done, as soon as these hoodies are done, man, you're getting one sent to you in Dubai. I can't wait to see you rocking that, man, making it look good, putting DomainSherpa on. Let's go. All right. Well, that's what's up. All right. Now,
Poser.com is not worth $21,000 as a wholesale price for an investment. Let's just put it out there for the people watching. The auction prices are just out of control. So just please.
Well, you know what? That's a great segue, Jack. That's a great segue into the NameJetGonnaJet segment sponsored by our friends at NameJet. And we've really got about 10 minutes. So, but go ahead.
I just want to add, before we move on, it is not an SEO name. It has a domain rating of 0.
Yeah.
So that's not why it went up. It is pure domain only, and somebody way
well, it's interesting.
Pretty wild. It's actually a 95 original registration, 95. Like, that's weird.
Well, anyways, the term poser obviously is
whoever bought it. I actually know who bought it, and I'm a little surprised that they would pay that much. But
real quick about the name poser, since we're talking about it, and this does segue into the NameJetGonnaJet segment anyway, so we're now there. But the it's like a negative name, like it's kind of an insult at times to say somebody's a poser, right? But is there something we're not thinking about, like from a modeling standpoint or a 3D modeling?
Move on. Who cares?
That's it. Drew says he's done. He lost the game. He doesn't even want to think about it or talk about it. That's fine, man. It's cool. It's all good. All right. So we got this list. So who wants to tackle it? We got 18 names on the list, like we say on the show. Go to DomainSherpa.com. We've got the Excel spreadsheet, which has the Esteban appraisals. Take them for what it's worth. How many back orders as of the date that we record the show? How many days left in the back order period as of the date the show airs? Keep in mind that these are all expiring domains, which means in order to participate in the auctions, you'll need to have a back order in before the end of the back order deadline. So definitely make sure you get those in if you're interested in any of these names, along with some other data that we throw in there just to help y'all out. So Drew, you want to tackle a couple of these names? Don't mention all of them, but talk about maybe one or two that you like, one or two you don't.
Start with somebody else because I actually don't have the list.
The list is in the invite. It was in the email.
Which you didn't send to me.
I did. I sent it. You hit me up this morning. I wake up this morning at like 4 a.m. with you messed
said
up the
I tried
invite.
to resend it, but that doesn't mean you actually did. You never did.
I did. I sent it. I mean, I put you in the thing and I hit send. I can't control everything, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing my best. I'm doing my best out here at 0.75 speed.
All right, start on somebody else.
Jack, let's go, man. Let's go. You want me to send it? I'll send it to you separate, so you got it. Or here, I'll actually even put it in the chat. But all right, Jack, talk to us, man. What do you think, man? What do you like? What don't you like?
So at first glance, honestly, the list did not look very promising. But I looked into it a little bit more.
He sent me a Skype. He sent me a Skype last night. And he goes, "This list is shit, man."
Hey, man. Look, I don't put the names on the platform. I just try and pick the ones that look like at least something worth talking about. So I'm at the mercy. I'm at the mercy of the inventory. Go ahead.
So the first one is AIWI, and obviously with AI, with ChatGPT, like anything like short with AI can be valuable. It all depends on what price you're going to get it. I mean, we own eai.com, and the amount of inquiries we've been getting since ChatGPT has been launched is through the roof. So I'm assuming that if you have a 4-letter with AI in it, there's some value there. But again, if you're trying to get 10x, don't pay more than like $500 for that name. It's probably going to go way more, but it's my 2 cents. American Tools.
But EAI, is that the name you said you have? EAI.com? That's fire.
Yeah.
That is like, I'll give you $500 for that one.
Not as good as AIX.
Ooh, who's got that one? Who has that domain, Drew? Come on, man. I'm serving it up. I'm like riding shotgun on one of those infomercials where I'm like, and what else does it do? It fries. It cooks. It's convection oven. All right, go ahead. Jack.
Brought your kids to school.
Drew, did you start getting more inquiries ever since ChatGPT?
No. That's why I was skeptical about your statement. I don't believe you.
that's
I'm an honest person. Anyway, so next one is a Dolly, which actually reminds me of Kevin's, right?
Yeah.
So these first name or last name with an S at the end, they do have value. It actually reminded me of Dick's, which is owned by Dick's Sporting Goods. They own Dicks.com, and they also own DSG.com. So if you can get this for like a couple thousand, you could probably 5 to 10x it. Like there's some value there, but again, all depends on what you're paying. And the sleeper in this one might be a medicinals. I think Drew would want to talk about this one, but I like it. The only exception to what I'm saying, the only caveat is that when you write medicinals in Google, there's a company called Traditional Medicinals that's like taking up everything, all of the first page of Google. So you're either going to have competition or UDRP on your hands. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but it seems like there's a lot of trademarks taken, like 300 plus I saw. So you're probably fine. And I think it's a cool name, but very few backorders for some reason. That's pretty much it.
All
Can
right.
I tell you a quick story about Dick's?
Sure.
I just wanted to say that one.
Yeah.
So out here in the U.S., there was a sporting good chain called Chicks, and it was acquired by Dick's. I'm just saying it very slowly.
No way, really?
And yeah, I was at the mall, and there was a Chicks there, and it was temporarily closed. There's a sign out front that said, "Chicks has left to make room for Dick's."
No way. Come on, man.
I swear to God, like I almost peed in my pants.
Dude, what? I mean,
it was a sign in front that was like, "We've made room, Chicks is out, made room for Dick's." I was like, did no one read this sign? Like that was the tears in my eyes. It was so cool.
Chicks and Dicks. Cool. Cool. I think that might be, I'd say that might be the name of the episode, except I don't want to get our traffic and I don't want to get blacklisted anywhere. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, well, what, I mean, Braden, since you're, you're talking, what else you like or don't like? By the way, Drew, I told Billy to jump on that call and tell him we'll be 5 minutes late. So we have a couple minutes grace period here.
Okay.
So.
All right. Let's see. Carts.net. Carts is good as all kinds of carts, checkout and, physical carts. There's a lot of carts has a lot of meaning. It's a .net, so it's not worthless.
It's just worth less, baby. I like carts. I mean, here where we are in Florida, it's all about.
My turn.
I know, but you talked about this name.
No, there's no time for that, JT.
Fine.
I also like. Screwball is okay. I like those kinds of names. It's not worth a lot, honestly, but if you can get it cheap enough, it has.
That's
some value.
my personal favorite name on the list is Screwball.
Yeah, but
a whiskey company called Screwball Whiskey or something.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that name. I love it.
Yeah. I sold Spitball, which is
just fun. It's
sort of
fun.
similar years ago. I got a great multiple on it. I sold it for I think 20 grand, like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
And I think when you're looking at a name like that you're looking at, a name that could be a brand, right? That's not so descriptive or generic, right? that, you know, that's a name to me could be a national brand of a lot of different stuff, you know, and I think that, you know, people, you know, the irreverence of it is really cool. It's kind of like, you know, it's funny and kind of goofy, but not like offensive or weird. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like, to me, that's, I would agree. I think it's a pretty cool name. It'll come down to what you can buy it for.
I don't think that, I can't see that being a massive brand. Like it could be like a cool small brand, but I don't see it being like worth that.
I don't know. You know, I mean, you know, you got like a Barstool Sports, right? I mean, I don't know. I just think, to me, it's like, you know, what are the different sort of, this could apply to a bunch of different stuff. I don't know. But I feel
like it's a product name, not a company name.
Okay.
It's kind of my sense. Anyways, we're just raising the price of it right now.
Yeah, no, hey, it's all good. You know, you can get your you can buy your screwball at Chicks or Dick's. There's something there. I don't know.
I think there's some value to telemarketing.org. And tent rental, maybe. And the other one I talk about is I can talk about is Vedic astrology.
Yeah. What do you know about? I actually put that on there for you because I figured out of everybody on the call that you would know what that meant, like what Vedic astrology is. You know,
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's Hindu astrology.
Oh, all right. See, so it's not so like
from the Vedas, right? Which are the kind of like the.
Oh, yeah, I gave. Sorry, Braden. I gave you too much credit.
Like the book of
credit to Drew, who like knows so much about it. You know, he's like everything about everything. So he's like, oh yeah, from this time, this, and then they'll tell you about some Hindu like guru guy that Drew knows personally. That's like some like best-selling author that they've smoked some kind of crazy kush together and seen the they've entered the astral plane together.
Toad, and you're gonna find all about Vedic astrology.
They hung out. He's like, we played badminton on the astral plane.
You're gonna go hang out with Toro.
And I won.
Yeah.
And I told him in your face.
As an EOD, I can see somebody that's some practitioner, that's into that. Like I own tantra.com and there's a lot of practitioners and I get all of these. I get tons of inquiries. What's that?
Such a good name.
Yeah, I wonder where I got that.
Okay. There's some.
I think that adds value if you buy it right.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, there's a story there. We don't have time for it, but interest is piqued. It'll be in the sequel, the next episode where y'all are on together. All right.
Let's just say Jack and I talk like, I don't know, every other day.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, Drew, what about you, man? We got about 3 minutes and, anything that has not been named that you like. You said Screwball was your favorite. What else?
Yeah, I like Screwball. I like tent rental a lot. That's big business. There's a tent rental company in every town. They're expensive. That's a great lead gen name.
And people rent and borrow tents.
That's worthless. That'll never happen.
Which one?
Peaceonline.com. That's an illusion. You have peace on earth before you got peace online. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt.
We can't get peace offline. Like, there's no way there's peace online. Definitely not Twitter. That's for sure.
Leadership programs, man. And I do like medicinals, but it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. Yeah, this is not a strong list. Screwball and tent rental are my favorites. I do like the Vedic astrology, and but yeah, that's it. Those are really the only two that I.
Nobody likes Godstone. Nobody likes Godstone.com.
I do like Godstone. Because it's impactful, but using the word God in things is generally not a great branding and marketing play.
That's
but
fair. Well, that's a good point.
But Godstone is interesting. I don't even know what a Godstone is, but it makes me want to find out.
Yeah.
Nothing. It sounds like a thing. It's not a thing.
It's not a
thing. Probably just going to be for like a video game, right? Like a Godstone, like it makes you like super powerful. So
some kind of God of War type thing. You're like a big old Viking type dude trying to like go. Like
if it's not a thing, then I actually like it more because it actually kind of means you can use it to make it into something.
You could sell gems
because it's kind of powerful, but just generally speaking, like there's a pretty big portion of the population which is going to take offense to you putting God in your name. So there's that. It could be some kind of a church. It could be, but it could be the new domain for your new gems business. You know what I'm saying? So you're
It was ultra specific.
Or a new kind of gem.
Yeah. Oh, that's true too. And nothing on Book Buddies or In the Woods. Nobody. No takers. All right.
All depends.
Nah, In the Woods. That sounds like yeah.
All right.
No,
Well,
Don't do it. Don't do it. This is where
I'm
you
not. I'm not. You see how good I am? I'm
That
not
was
even
good.
go there.
That's good.
I don't know. I don't now. I would like to know what he was going to say. The last point I'm going to make, since you wouldn't let me make it before, about carts.net is that here in Florida, golf carts like literally are everywhere, you know? And I think that's a domain that could be pretty useful for, you know, a lot of folks southeast or, you know, areas where you have that kind of, you know, that's part of the daily life. I think is that's a pretty cool name even as a .net for some folks. So all right. Well, look, I think that's what it is. Remember, you know, it's not that the domain's worthless. It's just that it's worth less. Each of these domains is anything you wouldn't pay $69 for, though.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Like most of what we talked about. Well, most of what we didn't talk about.
You wouldn't even put a minimum bid on these, huh? So there's names on the list. You wouldn't
Athlete Help, I wouldn't pay anything for. Book Buddies, I wouldn't pay anything for. That's it. The rest, peddling.com, I wouldn't pay anything for. The rest of them, I wouldn't mind owning.
All right. So be careful out there, everybody, because
immaterial price.
You know, there's not a lot of love for this list this week. So it's, it is what it is. So anyway, all right. Well, look, guys, I appreciate it. We are up on time. And I think we all rallied, you know, and so I'm feeling pretty good, actually, all things considered. And I especially appreciate my boy Jack coming on the show. It's been a minute since he's been here. You other guys, I see y'all too much. But so Jack, a big thank you to you for being here and putting up with all of us. But thank you to you too, Braden, and to you, Drew, and to the audience. Like I say on every show, thank you for tuning in. Without you, there is no us. You guys got any questions, good, bad, ugly? We're not hard to find. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. And definitely let me know if somebody's got a line on some merch, on putting together this custom merch. There are a couple of NFT folks that did like the aesthetics, you know, like the OG Farmer had the hoodie, the Shane hoodie with the Sistine Chapel and the pink inside the hood, you know, or the cheetah inside the hood. So I know, you know, folks are doing some of that stuff. So holler at me, let me know. I got to send Jack this dope ass hoodie now that currently doesn't exist, but now we talked about it. So we got to speak it and put it into existence. But that's it, man. Otherwise, everybody take care. We'll see you next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Peace out, everybody.
Boom.
Bye.